Pregame is brought to you by Meloche Palace Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 3800 South Lapeer Road in Lake Orion. Meloche's Palace has been servicing Lake Orion's automotive needs since the 1960s.
After a rough road trip to West Bloomfield, the Dragons return home and entertain the Stoney Creek Cougars. We have it all for you here on Orion Neighborhood Television. Good afternoon, everyone. Traveling is over. We're back together again. He's Chris. I'm Doug. We have Lake Orion football tonight. Chris, last week the Dragons had a tough loss to West Bloomfield, who right now is the odds-on winner of the OAA Red. But not only that, the Dragons at 2-3 have to win out to be assured a playoff spot.
Yeah, and that's what makes life difficult for the Dragons. The OAA Red has always been a difficult conference division to be a part of and play, but especially this year when you start going 2-3, and so very easily the Dragons could have been 4-1. A tough loss to Chip Valley late in the fourth quarter, and obviously the loss to Troy Athens was under 30 seconds to go in the fourth. But when it's all said and done, they're 2-3 right now, and they have to win out. But it starts right here tonight. You got to focus on the Stoney Creek Cougars and the coaching staff and the kids put in a ton of time both on and off the field. You should see the scouting reports that they put together for their kids this week. So they'll be ready to go, and as long as they can execute and obviously and keep the ball and don't turn the ball over, they should be in good shape.
Talking to Coach Brad Zuby at Stoney Creek, and they're in the same situation the Dragons are in. At 2-3, they have to win out. One of these teams is going to have 4 losses after tonight and have to hope that they take some 5-4 teams. Coach Zuby's saying that the kids are, they know what they have to do. And he says he hasn't had to do a lot of coaching with this. No,
and that was one of their goals coming into the season, the Cougars, is that they wanted to, go into the season having a winning record for 4 consecutive years. In order for them to do that, you're right, they've got to win tonight and move forward. So it's going to be difficult for both sides. I mean, every time you come onto the road in the OAA Red, it becomes difficult. And these two teams last couple years have had some pretty good matchups going back and forth. So the Cougars are multiple in what they do offensively. They do some things differently defensively. At least they showed that last week. So we're going to have to wait and see tonight what they have in store for the Dragons.
We touched on it briefly, but the OAA Red is, in years past we've had Lake Orion or Clarkston or Lake Orion,
right.
1-2. Tonight you've got Troy Athens and Clarkston playing for second place. West Bloomfield is the odds-on favorite to win the division, and in the meantime you've got everybody else in the division trying to beat each other up.
Right. I would say, just in my opinion, the OAA Red's kind of down this year as a whole, from top to bottom. I mean, there's some teams that haven't had very good seasons this year, and West Bloomfield certainly is the cream of the crop. But one of these teams tonight here is going to take that next step towards bringing themselves back up to that top part of the OAA Red, and we'll find out soon tonight.
This is October. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and tonight the Dragons, the staff, are all wearing pink in honor of breast cancer awareness and prevention. We've got a lot of festivities, a lot of color going on here tonight, and we'll bring it all to you after a break. Stay with us.
Calling all ghosts and ghouls, witches and wolves to take part in Lake Orion's 2015 Halloween Parade, Wednesday, October 28th. Lineup is at 5:45 in Eamon Center. Parents and children alike, be sure to dress in your scariest costumes to creep your way down Broadway, ending at Children's Park. Then try your hand at trick-or-treating in the village downtown. So come, be in the 2015 Halloween Parade on October 28th at 5:45 in Eamon Center, if you dare. For more information, visit downtownlakeorion.org.
Our first quarter of action is underwritten by Jets Pizza, offering pizzas, subs, salads, and wings, and more with 2 convenient locations in the Orion area. Jets Pizza, a proud supporter of ONTV since 2009. And Be Zany, Party Warehouse, offering everything from fun hats, costumes, toys, and party supplies for every occasion. Located at 3970 South Baldwin Road in Orion Township. Be Zany is your home for everything party.
Just before kickoff, the Lake Orion Dragons entertain the Cougars from Stoney Creek High School. Lake Orion, as we know, is coached by head coach Chris Bell in his 18th year, 164 and 72 overall. Dragons are 2-3 this year. They have wins against Troy and Oxford, which were both shutouts, and losses to Chippewa Valley opening night, Troy Athens, and last week to West Bloomfield. Stoney Creek is coached by head coach Brad Zuby, well known to this program. He was an assistant coach here in the mid-2000s. Coach Zuby is 29 and 23 overall. The Cougars, as are the Dragons, are 2-3 this year. A loss to Adams on opening night, losses to Oxford and Clarkston, and beat Bloomfield Hills and beat Troy last week. This series does not quite go back to when Stoney Creek High School opened. Stoney Creek opened in 2002, and they started out in, at that time, OAA Division III, which is now the Blue Division. Stoney Creek moved to the white in 2008 and to the red in 2012. These teams have met 3 times. Lake Orion leads the series 2-1. Chris, you've got your keys to the game.
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, I think Lake Orion's got to get off to a fast start. And, it's easier said than done. Last week against West Bloomfield, the first drive drove 75 yards for a touchdown. Lake Orion's first possession, 3 and out. They went to punt and got the punt blocked, and West Bloomfield took over right away at the 20-yard line. With 3+ minutes to go in the first quarter, West Bloomfield was already up 13-0. So got to start fast. Got to play with that must-win mentality tonight. Number 2, I think, got to continue to ride the back of running back Keith Fields. He comes into tonight with 766 yards on the ground, 5 touchdowns, averaging 8.5 yards a carry, and he had a nice job. He was really the standout last week. Rushed for 120 yards on 20 carries against a very good West Bloomfield team and defense. And then thirdly, I think, this week was an understanding of the assignments that the coaching staff put them in. Now it's time for the test. The test is try to contain not only Stoney Creek's offense in that they run a no huddle offense. It's not a quick huddle offense, but it's a no huddle offense, and it allows our defense Lake Orion defense not to be able to substitute. So they call the plays from the sidelines. They do a lot of things offensively that forces the defense to have to prepare for throughout the week. And as long as Lake Orion can understand that system offensively, defensively, read their keys properly, it should be a good night for Lake Orion tonight. So those are some of my keys to the game.
Okay, we'll take a quick look at the standings in the OAA Red. West Bloomfield, as we alluded to in the pregame, 5-0, 4-0 in the division. Troy, Athens, and Clarkston are battling it out tonight for second place. Both are 3-2 in the division, or 3-2 overall, 3-1 in the division. Lake Orion and Stoney Creek, 2-3 overall, 2-2 in the division. Bloomfield Hills and Oxford are tied at 1-4. Bloomfield Hills is 2-3 in the division, and Oxford is 1-3, and Troy is 0-5, 0-4 in the division. And as we said, we never thought we'd see the day where Troy, Athens, and Clarkston, and you can see the bunching of the teams.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And one of the either between Troy, Athens, and Clarkston, one team's going to have 3 losses tonight. Lake Orion and Stoney Creek, one team's going to have 4 losses tonight. And we've seen in years past, it's real hard. You have to have a lot of things fall into place to go into the playoffs as a 4-loss team. Our officials tonight, our referee is Tom Mastrovito. Head linesman is John Cisantelli. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong. Line judge is Josh Pate. Umpire is Kevin Bond. And the back judge is Doug Bohannon. It is an East Side crew working here tonight. We are waiting for the team to make their appearance. This, if you want to call it for lack of a better term, pink out, came, it was actually at the urging or with the appreciation of longtime assistant coach Don Luby, whose daughter-in-law, Kathy Luby, passed away from breast cancer a few years ago. And so many breast cancer awareness fundraisers go for treatment and research. This one's a little different tonight. This is to provide those unseen costs, transportation costs, medical costs, the kind of things that maybe fundraisers don't look at. And it is a great tribute to Coach Luby to urge the adoption of this night, the school administration for their adoption of this night, the plumes on the marching band, the pink flags of the flag corps, the cheerleaders all dressed in pink, and the team will be wearing their home greens with pink numbers tonight. And the staff, we mentioned Coach Bell has pretty good look in pink. So it's a festive night here tonight, but always with the knowledge of what this night is for. Waiting for the team to make its appearance in the tunnel, Stoney Creek. The cheer goes up from the moms. Coach Bell leads them out. And the Dragons take the field. Chris, I had this fear that we were going to come out here to do this game and see the team in pink shirts and white numbers, which would drive us absolutely nuts trying to find out who was what. But those are going to be pretty easy to read tonight.
Fluorescent pink, yes, makes it pretty easy to see the players even from up here as far as up as we are.
Before we get started, we'll do our first plug of the night. Have you ever wanted to create your own short film and test your filmmaking abilities? ONTV's second annual Wildwood Film Festival and Challenge is coming up. Teams will have 4 days to produce a short film that will be shown at our film festival on Wednesday, October 21st in Oxford. The kickoff party is Friday, October 16th at 6 p.m. For more information, go to Orion, ONTV.org. Teams are lining up. Director of Bands Michael Steele will lead us in our national anthem. game time temperature is 52 degrees. Wind is out of the northeast at 11. And Chris, it is going to affect the kicking game tonight, and in some respects the passing game. Anything going to the north is going to be affected by the wind.
Just this cold weather has come on us so quickly, or so it seems, that I think it's affecting everybody, no matter if you're on offense, defense, special teams, coaches, broadcasters up in the booth. I mean, you name it, camera crew, you name it. So
I talked before the game started to Luke Bevilacqua, the kicker for the Dragons, and he was kicking everything to the south. And I said, you know, you're going to feel like Superman kicking to the south, but kick to the north, and you're going to be Superman on kryptonite, because it's just not going to go anywhere. Stoney Creek won the toss, will receive. Dragons will be kicking with the wind at their back to start the game. Trying to see the Stoney Creek deep men. Number 28, Garrett Klima. Number 36, Tristan Lenian. And I can't see the far guy. He's got a 0. Kurt Bevilacqua has the ball teed up on the 40. Whistle blows, and the ball blows off the tee. And they're not going to give him a second chance. Jalen Wiggins have come in and hold him, give him a hold. And over end kick downfield, and it goes into the end zone, where Stoney Creek will start out 1st and 10 from their own 20. I guess, Chris, if you had to say anything, the Dragons want to right the ship tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely, and they're going to have to right it against a freshman quarterback in number 10, Frank Potenza. Has done a nice job for them so far. Really does a nice job of managing the offense in only his 6th game on varsity.
1st and 10, in a shotgun, fades back, looks, throws over to the right, caught, and he's heading down the field. Number 25, Kyle McBride, slips a tackle and gets down inside the 20-yard line. Big play on 1st down.
Just mentioned he just does a nice job of managing the game. That time Potenza does a nice job of rolling out and finding the open man. You know, number 25, Kyle McBride's a good-sized target, 6'3", 185, and he just ran a simple corner route.
1st and 10 from the Dragon 18. Potenza stays in the gun, kind of a pistol formation. Gets motion given to number 21, Brett Polkley, and he's out of bounds after about a yard gain. We'll remind you our scoreboard this half is brought to you by Paul's Carpet Shine. Paul's Carpet Shine is a family-owned carpet and tile cleaning company serving North Oakland County. Check them out at paulscarpetshine.com.
Just ran that little jet sweep there, and Drew Casey from his safety position came down to make the tackle, but you'll see the Cougars
now they're ruling it a catch complete to number 12, Brady Campbell, falling down. That almost looked like it skipped.
Yeah, I was about to say you'll see the Cougars again, no huddle offense, and get the play call from the sideline, and their wings and their tight ends will stand up in that pistol formation and check to the sideline, look to see what the play call is, and Potenza will continue to run the play.
Motion, handoff inside. Number 36, Tristan Lanyon. He is inside the 5 to the 3. It'll be a 1st and goal for Stoney Creek.
They like to run to Pokley, number 21. They like to run to McBride, number 25. And they like to run to number 36, the fullback, Tristan Linen.
It's a tight formation they use. Quarterback stays in the pistol. They get motion, handoff inside to number 36, Tristan Linen, and he's in for the touchdown. Just like that, 80 yards in 4 plays, and Stoney Creek takes a 6-0 lead. They go outside, and then when they get inside the 10, they run inside. Number 7, John Carson, beyond to attempt the extra point. The kick is up, and the kick is good. 10:03 left here in the first quarter. Stoney Creek takes a quick 7-0 lead.
You know, I know we're 6 games into the season already, but when it, you know, Stoney Creek came in offensively with only 4 starters coming back, and they were pretty young, but their skill position guys were the strength of that offense, and you can see that right there in that first drive, how good those skill position players were.
Once again, replays this year are sponsored by Jets Pizza. Jets Pizza with 2 convenient locations in the Orion area. Proud supporters of ONTV since 2009. And we appreciate Jets Pizza feeding the ONTV crew tonight. Their long pass play, I didn't see who the cornerback was.
Alex Meehl.
He seemed to come up on the play, and the receiver slipped behind him.
Yeah, he kind of stumbled as he was backpedaling, Meehl did, and you're right, that's what created the separation and the big catch. So bottom line, it was a nice throw, a nice route, and they completed it. And he also broke a couple tackles as he worked his way down the field. So cleaning up those types of things. You know, we talked about at the beginning, Lake Orion getting off to a quick start. Just the opposite happened there with under 2 minutes to go in the has elapsed, excuse me, here in the first quarter.
Jalen Wiggins and Keith Fields are the upbacks. Number 5, Mike Jarvis, back deep for the Dragons. Number 7, John Carson, a kickoff for Stoney Creek. Kind of a pooch kick. Jalen Wiggins will take it on the 20. He's up to 25, the 30, tripped up and falls forward to the 34-yard line, where the Dragons will take over 1st and 10.
Now, last week against Troy, Stoney Creek ran a version of a 52 defense, but they were never set. They were always moving. They're always their down linemen were never down in a 3-point, 4-point stance. So they were always moving, trying to confuse the Troy offense. It obviously worked because they beat Troy last week 47-0. Didn't give up a first down. We'll see what they do here tonight.
Kalen Prescorn under center. Handoff, Keith Fields. And he's got running room. He's over 40 into Stoney Creek territory, down to the 38-yard line. Good gain on first down.
The second key to the game right there, ride the back of number 3, Keith Fields. You saw right there why.
He got through the line in a hurry. Fields again, he's jammed up at the line, squeezes forward for maybe a yard gain. Bring up 2nd down and 9. Caden Prescorn's a quarterback. Keith Fields is the running back. Mike Jarvis in motion. Prescorn rolling right, throws. They call it a catch. Nope, incomplete. Intended for number 20, Drew Casey. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, the crossing route was there, just a little thrown a little long and a little low. Casey was the tight end on the left side, crossing over the middle. Had good time to throw.
From the gun,
Screen
over the head of Keith Fields. That'll bring up 3rd down. You know, I was watching Caden Prescorn in pregame, and he looks like one of those quarterbacks that the less he thinks, the better he is. He had time to throw the out pass and threw it low, but if he just comes back and throws the ball, he throws a nice ball and he's accurate.
Yeah, he's coming in on the year 61.4% completion percentage.
4th down and 9 for the Dragons. Complete out on the left end to Jalen Wiggins for a 1st down.
Official on the far Dragon side of the field stopped the clock for some reason.
Well, it's a 1st down. They'll reset the chains.
Ineligible, man.
Ineligible downfield. I didn't see the flag.
Nor did I. They declined.
They called it incomplete pass, and Stoney Creek declined it, and they'll take over 1st and 10.
Wait a second here.
I thought it was a completed pass.
It sure looked like it.
It was. Our director, Ian Locke, is saying it was a completed pass. Yeah, the head linesman gave the completed pass signal. And I think Coach Bell wants an explanation.
Ineligible man downfield is the call.
It should be 4th down.
Yep, they're sending the punting team.
Yeah. Yeah, they're resetting everything to make it 4th down and 9.
Yeah, the official did say Stoney Creek's ball, but he's explaining to Coach Bell the situation, and obviously there was a mix-up somewhere.
Taylor McCarty comes on to punt.
McCarty had a ball blocked last week. Their first possession came right up the middle, but it's averaging 37.2 yards per punt this season.
Good snap, good kick, and of course kicking with the wind. He puts it out of the end zone. So Stoney Creek will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20, 8:46 left here in the 1st. Stoney Creek up 7-0.
DVD copies can be purchased by calling ONTV at 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060. For only $10, you can get a copy of not only this game, but any game or program in our broadcast vault. DVD copies at 248-693-3377.
Potenza leads him out. Handoff on a sweep left. Number 35, Dominic Perone on the carry. Got a gain of 10, and that'll be another 1st down. Again, like you said, Chris, it's just look to the sideline. They already come out in a formation. They just call the play.
Same call, same call.
Number 36, Tristan Lenyon, or I'm sorry, number 35, Dominic Perone on the carry. The Stoney Creek coaches are going nuts. I don't know why. Their player just picked up 23 yards.
Everyone's stepping and reaching. That offensive line just reaching left, and they're running the sweep and having success running it.
1st and 10 from the Lake Orion 47. Stoney Creek moving the ball with authority. Tight formation, one wide out to the right. Handoff. Number 21, Brett Pokley, he breaks a tackle, is finally brought down on the 41-yard line after a gain of about 6.
Drew Casey in on the stop again.
Second down and 4. Single wide out to the left this time. Handoff. Good tackle this time, number 10, Base Smart. Dragons are saying they have the ball. The officials are saying, no, you don't. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 4 after no gain.
They like to throw. He's not tight ended this time, but they like to throw to number 12, Brady Campbell, in situations like this. He's got good size. He's also 6'3", 215, a junior.
Brett Pokley comes out split to the left. Pass, looks, throws, intercepted. Jalen Wiggins.
Well, they tried to get the ball to Campbell that time, but that ball was clearly underthrown by Potenza. Jalen Wiggins does a nice job of stepping inside and intercepting the ball and stopping that Stoney Creek drive.
Number 12, Brady Campbell, didn't really know which way to turn. He turned right, then came back to his left. He should have stayed going to his right, and Jalen Wiggins just undercut the route.
I tell you what, he was open. Campbell got on top of Wiggins for a bit, and that ball was just simply underthrown. I don't know if that's a situation where, with the wind coming in their face, that ball was able to knock it down, and Wiggins was able to step inside and make the play. But nonetheless, Dragons take over, 1st and 10.
Prescorn leads them out. 2 wides to the left. Keith Fields up the middle, breaks a tackle, gets over close to a 1st down. They're going to mark him down on the 28-yard line after a gain of 8. You see his quickness through the line.
Oh, and he's, he's quick. He's a small back, and it's tough to. As I guess I talked about it, we haven't talked about it. We haven't had a game yet. But we get Lake Orion offensive line is very large, and it's hard to find a back the size of Fields.
They've got him listed at 5'6", 165, and I think that's being a little generous. But he does run hard. He's fast. He's shifty, and he just picked up a 1st down, and a lot more. Fumbles the ball, and Stoney Creek is going to get it. He got hauled down, lost the ball as he was going down, and the Stoney Creek defender was right there. Looks like it was number 21, Brett Pokley, with the fumble recovery. How about that?
The ability to hold on to the football. 2 turnovers early in this game. 1 for each team.
1 for each team. Stoney Creek takes over, 1st and 10 on the Lake Orion 43-yard line, and you can't give a team like this a short field. 1 wide out to the left. Back to pass.
Crossing route.
Crossing route, got number 21, Brett Pokley. He's driven out of bounds by Jalen Wiggins, but not after picking up a 1st down.
Pokley was the wing on the left side of the field. All he simply did was run a crossing route at about 7 yards deep and came clean and wide open for a nice completion.
1st and 10 from the 29. Same formation, 1 wide out to the left. Potenza hands off up the middle. Off the left side, number 36, Tristan Lehnan. And he's got a gain of about 3 to the 26. Number 25, Kyle McBride, splits wide to the right. Hand off to 21, Brett Pokley. He stopped after a minimal gain, if any, by number 24, Danny White. Good pursuit, good bring down after a minimal gain.
Yeah, good pursuit. And as I'm watching from up here, I initially think, gosh, there's a big hole there. They're getting to the edge, but White does a nice job in preventing anything further.
3rd and 7, 4:30 left here in the first quarter. Pass again, pressure, down he goes. Number 19, Ryan Culp on the sack, along with number 24, Danny White. And that's huge, because in this weather, it in effect takes him out of field goal range.
Culp does a nice job of as he's attacking the quarterback on that pass rush lane. He does a nice job of attacking that back shoulder of the quarterback, of forcing Potenza back up into the hole, into the pocket, and allowed Culp and others to get and be a part of that big sack.
Timeout called by the Dragons with 3:57 left here in the first. Go mobile with ONTV anytime. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube on your mobile devices. Connect with ONTV to see what's happening in our new studio, see upcoming events, and watch ONTV programs in high definition on demand. ONTV, working to bring Lake Orion to the world. And we will mention to you that our broadcast tonight is brought to you in sparkling high definition. You know what Stoney Creek's offense reminds me of, Chris? Do you remember the old Dallas offenses back in it might be a little before your time, but they used to do a thing where the linemen would set and then they'd all stand up. Well, that's kind of what these guys do. They come out, they get in a early stance, then they all stand up and look to see what the play is.
Their linemen stay in that 2-point stance the entire time, but you're right, the wings and the tight ends do just that.
So 4th down and 15 from the 34.
They like to roll out and punt the ball, at least they have before, but obviously not this time. He's open.
He's open, got it, and a first down. Fumble. Let's see who's got it. They're calling him down inside the 1. Number 21, Brett Pokley, on a reception.
He's just too clean of a release, and he just runs a seam right down the middle of the field, Pokley.
1st and goal. And Lake Orion's going to take another timeout.
I tell you what, you know, we've seen the kid for just over 7 minutes or so, 8 minutes or so, and that's a freshman quarterback playing OAA red football.
That is a freshman.
You know,
yeah.
and it's pretty impressive the balls he's thrown. The first play of the game, the corner route here, that play right now on 4th and 15, has a nice touch to the ball.
You're going to see this kid for 3 more years here. And he's not a little guy. He's a freshman, but he's 6 foot, 165. He hasn't grown yet.
He just started high school 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, whatever it's been.
Yeah. So 1st and goal from the 1. Inside handoff, and he's in for the touchdown. Number 36, Tristan Lenyon, from 1 yard out. And the Dragons are digging themselves a hole.
Well, you know, turn the ball over.
It happens.
Give a short field, and you're right, like you said at the beginning of the drive.
Kick is down, up, and the kick is good by number 7, John Carson. 3:36 left here in the first quarter. Stoney Creek's up 14-0. You're watching exclusive coverage of Lake Orion football here on Orion Neighborhood Television. I knew I'd get that right. And Ian Locke said, no, you're not taking a break. So at the end of the quarter. But well, you're right. You give them a short field, and as you said, bad things will happen.
But you can't give up a big play on 4th down. I mean, defensively, Lake Orion has given up 40% on 4th down this year, and even that is a high percentage. High. You know, so on 4th and 16 or 17, what it was, it just breakdowns in the secondary and breakdowns on pass rush, and as a result, Stoney Creek converts.
Number 7, John Carson will kick off. Jalen Wiggins, Keith Fields are the up back with Mike Jarvis back deep. Another pooch kick. And taken by one of the number 19, Ryan Kolb, and he did the smart thing. Signaled for a fair catch, secured the football. It's Dragons ball, 1st and 10 from their own 35. That's something we preached a lot, because a lot of times an up back or someone on the kickoff return team doesn't know what to do in those pooch kick situations. And you call for a fair catch, secure the ball. Keith Fields on the handoff. He breaks a tackle, breaks another one up near midfield. Brought down by Tristan Lenyon, but not after a...
They're having success
18-yard gain.
They're having success on 1st down plays. It's at 2nd and 3rd down plays that have bogged down for Lake Orion, and as a result have stunted drives.
Prescorn in the gun. Handoff to Mike Jarvis around the left side. He gets up near midfield, maybe gets a yard. Where it'll be 2nd and 9.
Fields carried the ball, like I said, 20 times last week for 120 yards, and of the 211 that Lake Orion had as a total offense, and like I said at the outset, they got to ride his back. Stoney Creek has not had an answer for Fields as of yet.
Prescorn under center. Motion coming this side. Drops to pass. Looks. Throws deep. Got Jalen Wiggins and just short.
Tell you
just
what,
overthrew him.
You want to take advantage of matchups, and that's a matchup that Lake Orion's definitely got to exploit. Number 1, Jalen Wiggins, who's already committed to University of Toledo, going up against a cornerback 2 or 3 inches shorter than him, and Wiggins has got the speed, and that's a ball that's got to be completed.
Oh, he had 5 yards separation on him. And not only does, running Keith Fields, as you said, get on his back and run him, it takes a lot of pressure off your sophomore quarterback. So 3rd and 9 from the gun. Prescorn is going down. He had 3 guys around him. Number 51, Cole Nelson. Number 36, Tristan Lenyon, and friends. And that's about an 8-yard loss. It'll be 4th and 18 from the 40-yard line. And McCarty's back in punt formation. Good snap. Partially blocked. And recovered by Stoney Creek on the Lake Orion 48.
2 weeks in a row, McCarty's had Lake Orion's had punt blocks.
And he's taking 3 steps to get the punt off, and you can't do that. You've got to do a 2-step approach. That 3rd step is just a time killer.
The snap was good.
You're simply just too much penetration up front, just like last week against West Bloomfield.
Stoney Creek inside handoff coming around this way. Number 35 this time, Dominic Perrone. Gain of about 3. Now they're calling it 4. 2nd and 6. One wide out to this side, bunch formation the rest of the way. Single back in the backfield.
I think that was a busted play.
Yeah, I think it was. And he was sacked by number 10, Bay Smart, number 46, Gabe Simagowski.
I don't know if that was supposed to be some sort of sweep coming back this way, but the mesh between, Potenza and Linen was just not there, and I think Potenza just decided to keep it and get what he could, and he saw a lot of green there, so he hit the turf.
3rd and 13 from the 49. Back to pass. Out to this side, overthrown number 25, Kyle McBride. And the Dragons dodge a bullet.
It's one of those ones, I think that's a long throw for Potenza, and yes, it did go right through the hands of McBride, but it kind of floated out there also, and it's one of those situations where McBride thought, you know what, there's going to be a Dragon guy on my back. I need a second now, so maybe it's just better that I do drop it.
They're going to go for it on 4th down.
Pokley was in the slot, the left slot, last play for the big 4th down conversion.
Toss back, and there's the running kick. They're going to let it go down inside the 15-yard line, and the Dragons will take over 1st and 10 from their own 12. 31.7 seconds left in the first quarter.
That's one of those things that Stoney Creek likes to do on 4th down, just because it doesn't allow that defense to get set for a punt rush and a punt return, and they got to honor the fact that they already completed a 4th and 17 earlier in the game, and so you gotta be out there defensively expecting that, and it turned out well for the Cougars.
Also, when you've got the wind that you have tonight, you keep the ball low, you'll get more travel out. That's just as good as any high punt you'll see. Prescoring in the gun. Motion. Hands off to Jalen Wiggins, and he's caught and dropped. After a loss of about 3. Took the ball on the sweep and was just chased down, and you got to move to be able to catch Jalen Wiggins.
I tell you, I was just about to say that I've been surprised with the Cougars' speed tonight. Lake Orion hasn't been able to get to the perimeter. Most everything that's been the chunk yards Lake Orion's got to this point has been fields up the middle here in the first quarter.
That's the end of the first quarter. Stoney Creek 14, Lake Orion nothing. We'll be right back.
Hello, Oakland County. This is Sammy Taramina talking OA Now. In it, we'll talk various stories ranging from the state to Oakland County teams affecting the OAA. Catch us here on OA Now.
Now they put it back up. You're allowed 2 minutes. You don't have to use it all. Prescoring, 1st and 10. I'm sorry, 2nd and 12, under center. Draw to Keith Fields. He breaks another tackle and gets in the open field. He's up over to the 20 to the 21, and makes it a very manageable 3rd and 2. I'm surprised. It just amazes me with his acceleration through the line. Prescorn under center at 3rd down. Handoff again to Keith Fields. He breaks a tackle again. He's in the open field up to the 40-yard line and more. Keith Fields with a good run on 3rd down.
2 big plays to start the second half for the Dragons. And that's what Lake Orion's going to need to get back in this football game. Plenty of time left.
1st and 10 from the 42. Prescorn back under center. Wiggins in motion. Handoff Keith Fields, and we have a pink flag thrown. And they're going to call a procedure penalty against the Dragons. I'm assuming Jalen Wiggins cut up field too early.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't see that first flag early in the first quarter. I honestly didn't see it.
I
saw that one.
We're looking for yellow flags tonight, and they're throwing pink ones. We'll set the Dragon offense as soon as we get a chance. We don't talk much about the big uglies in the middle. Prescorn back in the gun. Throw out this side to Keith Fields in the open field. Breaks a tackle. He's close to a 1st down over midfield. He gets the penalty yardage back and a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragons moved Keith Fields into the slot that time, and they just ran a little hitch screen, and Fields was uncovered there. And you want to put a guy like that in open space, like one-on-one against the Cougars defender, and he ended up getting 8 out of the play.
So 2nd and 2 from midfield for the Dragons.
All about creating mismatches, all about finding that right matchup. Who can you take advantage of defensively?
Prescorn hands to Fields, up the middle. Oh, that was number 42, Chris Wilson, on the carry. He got good yardage, gain of about 8, and a 1st down inside the Stoney Creek 40.
So guess what? 2 plays ago, you put Fields into the slot. All right, through to Fields. Guess what? They move him to the opposite slot this time. All right, hand the ball off to Wilson. Nice big gain. So Fields is, you move Fields around offensively, you got to be aware of him.
Hand off to Fields again. Gets tied up through the line, gain of about 2. And I've always felt that you can't put, as they call it, a spy on him, because all a spy does is take a guy out of your defensive coverage. And you saw it there where they put him in the slot. They put the extra coverage to him, and Wilson got a good gain up the middle. 2nd down.
Oh,
Prescorn looking to
pass.
Got
him all day.
Mike Jarvis, touchdown, Lake Orion Dragons.
If a guy like me who can't see can see that from up here, certainly Prescorn can, and he did. And pretty play from 37 yards out for a Dragon touchdown.
And the Dragons are right back in this game. Luke Bevilacqua on for the extra point. Mike Jarvis, who just scored that touchdown, in to hold. Snap back, kick is up, and the kick is good. 9:30 left in the 2nd quarter. Stoney Creek 14, Lake Orion 7.
Jarvis's 9th catch on the year, 1st touchdown of the year, and a big one for the Dragons. So 14-7, you're right back in it, Doug, yes. Yeah, Jarvis just gets on top of the defender in the slot, and And again, we talked about taking advantage of mismatches and finding those matchups. And Lake Orion's got the vertical speed to be able to do that.
Yeah, Mike Jarvis had 5 yards on it. And we saw the same thing at the other end with the pass to Jalen Wiggins.
Yeah, I think the safety that time bit on play action. When he did bite on play action, the run fake, all right, that's what opened up Jarvis on top, getting on top of that safety for a touchdown.
Luke Bevilacqua has it teed up on the 40. He approaches, puts a foot into it, low kick. Taken by number 20.
Nice tackle by Chris Brown.
Clayton Cloper on the tackle. And you're right, Chris Brown just stood him up. So Stoney Creek takes over, 1st and 10 from their own 25. And let's see what that touchdown does for the Lake Orion defense. Handoff on the sweep. Number 21, Brett Pokley, gains about 5. It'll be 2nd and 5 from the 30.
And that time, Ryan Culp did a nice job of forcing ball carrier back inside for Jack McClear to clear things up.
Back to pass, looks, throws, broken up.
Oh!
Almost intercepted. And number 20, Drew Casey, met the ball at the same time. Clean break up, and the Dragons almost got a pick out of it.
Yeah, Potenza threw that ball, and Pokley's open early on. He just doesn't see him right away. And that by the time Potenza threw the ball, that allowed Casey to get back, come from a safety spot and knock it down and almost deflect it to get it picked off.
3rd down, and Lake Orion jumped. Dead ball, offside. And that may be a 1st down for Stoney Creek, and it is.
Simjanowski jumped off sides early in the game against West Bloomfield last week. As West Bloomfield was driving, they drew him off sides. West Bloomfield drew the Dragons off sides to give them a 1st down. It was a big 1st down because West Bloomfield ended up converting.
So 1st and 10 for Stoney Creek. Potenza still in that pistol formation. 1 wide out, wide left, bunch formation the rest of the way. Motion, handoff to the 2nd back, and he's stoned.
Is that McClear again?
That was McClear. Absolutely stoned.
Nope, I'm sorry, it wasn't. Jacob Negri, number 15.
Dom Perone. Yeah, it was. So 2nd down and 9. Those pink numbers aren't as easy as they look, are they? Motion back to throw, pressure, down he goes.
Another busted play. Lake Orion takes advantage of it.
Drew Casey again. Seven-yard loss brings up 3rd down and 17.
Lake Orion coming into the game giving up 36% on 3rd down.
Double wide to the left. Single receiver out to the right. Empty backfield for Potenza.
Shovel.
Inside shovel pass. and he's going to be short of the first down. Toss to number 21, Brett Pokley. He'll be short of the first down. Base Smart on the tackle. And Stoney Creek will punt. Jalen Wiggins going deep for the Dragons. High snap, brings it down, pressure,
He's blocked.
and the ball had to have been tipped because there was the punter got flattened, number 25 Kyle McBride, and I just saw the umpire give the tip sign.
I thought it was a situation where the personal protector blocked him into him. Bottom line, Lake Orion takes over, great field position, their own 45.
1st and 10. Jarvis in motion, Fields up the middle, breaks a tackle, gets out to midfield. Gain of 5, brings up 2nd and 5. You can very slowly feel Mr. Moe starting to shift over to this sideline.
Well, they're making plays offensively last drive, obviously, and nice defensive stand this time and great field position. So
double wide to the left. Jalen Wiggins in motion left.
Nice blocking on the edge. They called.
Jalen Wiggins on the carry, and I think they're going to get Michael Jarvis on a hold. And it is holding. And, you know, we've talked about it over the years, but it's one of the stalwarts of Lake Orion, and it's a good block. That was a great block. The only time there may have been something is when the lineman turned after Jalen went by. Mike Jarvis was still sitting there with his hands on his hips. Don't feel bad, young man. You made a good block. Double wide for the Dragons. Prescorn got pressure. He's going down. On the 29-yard line, brought down by number 43, Dimitri Harris. And number 11, Dylan Trudeau.
Yep.
51. Thank you, yeah.
He just came
Cole
in
Nelson.
inside.
Good.
B-gap blitz and got inside Brendan Thompson, the right tackle, and Prescorn couldn't get anything off. Didn't have time to do anything.
3rd down and a quarter of the field to go for the Dragons. Double wide to the right, single wide left, single back in the backfield.
Hook and ladder, here it comes!
Keith Fields, he's gone. Needs a block. Oh, and we have a late flag.
Gonna get Michael Jarvis again, I think, on a hold or a block in the back. It's not gonna negate the first down though, or is it?
They ran the hook and ladder to perfection. That's the way you draw it up. And that should be it's still a first down. It is a point or a oh my goodness, I forgot the word. It is okay, here it is. Toss out, quick toss back to Keith Fields. Lots of room to run, and that's what it was. He just clipped him in the back. Fields again. Gain of about 7. They're calling it 6 to the 36.
Yeah.
Second down and 4.
We'll get the stats at halftime, but Fields has got to be approaching 120 yards on the ground.
From the gun. Quick toss out to Fields over his head. And if he was 5'7", he'd have caught it.
We got a late flag, very late flag. There's something going on between the.
Let's see what the call is.
It looked like Dylan Trudeau from the Cougars and one of the Orion linemen. It was awful late.
Referee Tom Mastrovito will tell us shortly. Lake Orion's clapping. Personal foul against Stoney Creek, roughing the passer.
It's one of those things that's Lake Orion's had troubles with this year. Is awful lot of penalties coming into the game in over 5 games, 37 penalties as a whole. So, 7+ penalties per game. Something Lake Orion, the Dragon, they want to certainly not have. Certainly this one goes in their favor.
Caden Prescorn has the play. Under center, motion, right, handoff, Fields up the middle, and he's going to be brought down after a gain of maybe a yard, maybe just got back to the line. Chris, I've been wondering your impressions on our sophomore quarterback so far.
So far, I mean, I don't want to say so good because Lake Orion's down, but the way he manages the game, the tempo that he runs the offense with, making decent decisions so far when called on to pass. He's a sophomore, so we're going to see him for the next 2 years.
Yes, we will.
He's got great size and
back to pass. Look,
and
going deep.
And he's throwing an
intercepted at the 1-yard line. It looked like he had number 11, Jack McClear, open.
Yep.
And let's see if we can get a replay on this.
I just wonder, that's the second interception that's happened at this end of the field. I just wonder if that ball's not floating up and just kind of hanging there based on the wind.
Oh, in the wind, no doubt.
Underthrown ball, and Potenza threw one early in the first quarter. Prescorn threw one now, and I just wonder if that's not the case.
For the first time tonight. The first time tonight we've seen Potenza under center, and boy, their offensive linemen were in the set, and then is it a safety? No. The line judge is coming in and marking it on the 1. They're giving him forward progress. But deep in their own territory, Potenza is under center. And they just don't have any room to operate down here. And Stoney Creek is going to call timeout with 1:58 left in the half. Video classes are now enrolling. Reserve your seat today. Learn the basics of studio and field production with ONTV staff of video professionals. That includes our producer-director Ian Locke here to my left. We offer hands-on instruction in a fun atmosphere. Orion residents pay only $10. Call ONTV to find out more at 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060, or visit our webpage at orionontv.org. This second quarter has gone by in a hurry, and there's been an awful lot going on. So Stoney Creek has a 2nd and 11 from their 1. They go back to the pistol formation. Toss back, looking to throw, and he threw to nobody.
Threw to nobody, but it's just as well that for their sake that he did, because he was being wrapped up by Coach Bell's asking for an intentional grounding.
Well, they're screaming it should have gone to number 21, Brett Pokley, but he was in the center of the field and the ball was thrown out to the 10-yard line to the left. So 3rd down and 11 from the 1. Back to throw, throwing deep down the left sideline, incomplete. Good coverage, step for step by Alec Meal. Pass intended for number 12, Brady Campbell. So Stoney Creek will punt. Now with the wind at their back, they should get a good punt out of this. This is where the punter has to watch where he's at in the end zone.
Yeah, note the last punt snap was a little high.
Yep. Good snap, 1-step kick. Jalen Wiggins coming over, takes a Stoney Creek bounce, and a good one. They'll let it go down to the 40-yard line. Let's do the math, 59-yard kick.
Yeah,
Dragons will take over 1st and 10 from their own 40.
You couldn't have asked anything better if you're Stoney Creek. Not only do you punt the ball, Wiggins isn't able to catch it, but yet it bounces for 10 to 15 extra yards.
That is a punter's dream, because in the stats it looks like he nailed it. So Dragons take over 1st and 10. Prescorn in the shotgun. Number 12, Brody Kutzer, split to the left. Jalen Wiggins wide right. Prescorn throws, and Keith Fields dropped it.
I think Keith was trying to look upfield as he runs that little out route, and didn't secure it first.
Well, it's hard to be running toward the sideline and then turn back. He turned back to his left.
You're right.
He was actually turning with his back to the ball. And that's a hard thing to do. Brody Kutzer splits out wide right. Mike Jarvis goes in a slot right. Jalen Wiggins in motion right.
Oh, he's getting held. There we go.
There are flags all over the place. The pass was intercepted by number 5, Kyle McBride. He's still running, but I see, what, 4 flags? 1, 2, yeah, 4 flags out there. About the only one who didn't throw a flag was the head linesman, because he was over on the other side of the field.
Yeah, Michael Jarvis on the post route was certainly being held as he's running the route, and then as Jarvis got up after the ball was intercepted, he got blocked in the back. So that's why the second series of flags came out as well. So this is all going to go in the Dragons' favor, fortunately.
And the 5 officials are meeting to make sure they get it right. Tom Mastrovito will tell us.
Oh.
Ineligible receiver downfield for Lake Orion.
Interesting, because where's the flag? Okay, there's one way over at the 40.
Holding defensive. The penalties offset will replace 2nd down. So after all that, who got downfield? I don't see who got down.
The flag is thrown way over at the 40-yard line. The Stoney Creek 40.
Unless Chris Wilson was downfield, unless he was a covered end and went downfield. So it just never happened, and we'll replay second down.
I'm going to say it again because it's happened 3 times. And now I know that interception was negated by the penalties, but 3 interceptions have been thrown to that side of the field.
Into the wind. Pressure. Prescorn try. Oh, he's going to get called for intentional grounding. He was going down, and he just threw it into the turf.
Tristan Linen had the pressure on Prescorn, and Caden tried to do what he could and to salvage a sack, but
well, he just didn't have, he had no time at all. Loss of down, plus the sack yardage counts. It'll be third down and about 26 to go. The ball is on the 24-yard line. Handoff, Keith Fields, got running room. Slips the tackle, but just had too much ground to make up. Got down to the 39-yard line, where it'll be fourth down with 1:01 left here in the second quarter.
Stoney Creek uses their first timeout of the half. They're going to obviously force Lake Orion to punt and punt into the wind so they can look to get something done offensively.
And this is where we saw Stoney Creek do it from their end zone, get a low punt. If you put anything high, it's not going anywhere.
But keep in mind, it's already happened once in the first half here, but you know, Lake Orion's given up, as we said, 2 punts, top 2 punt blocks. Last week one, and this week one already. So making sure that the Dragons can clean up that protection up front on a play like this can be a big play right now.
Taylor McCarty has got to start working off a 2-step approach. And even on the sideline, I see him down practicing, and he's doing a 3-step approach. You don't have that much time. He's got to get forward on his non-kicking leg, and he's standing with both legs together.
And they're putting time back on the clock. That's what the delay is.
They reset the clock to 1 minute, about 1:06. Good kick. Kicks a little Lake Orion roll down to about the 25, 26 yard line, where Stoney Creek will start out 1st and 10. 53.9 seconds left. Lake Orion will get the ball to start the second half. And they will be going with the wind at their back. Potenza in the pistol, 1 wide out to the right. Motion. Handoff off the right side. Number 21, Brett Pokley, and he runs out of bounds after around the 33, 34 yard line. They're calling it the 34. It'll be 2nd and 3 for Stoney Creek. Pass over the middle, caught and dropped immediately with the knee to the ground. Jack McClear came in and settled things down. Pass complete to number 12, Brady Campbell.
Yeah, that Lake Orion secondary just playing deep and not let anybody get over the top of them and keeping everything underneath and inside.
So it's 1st and 10 for Stoney Creek. Pass over to the right side. Complete to Campbell. Stopped by number 9, Alec Mell. And Stoney Creek will take another timeout with 27.9 seconds left. It looks like Lake Orion's kind of getting a little rhythm going in defense now. They're, like you said, they're giving them the underneath stuff, but they've after Stoney Creek's second touchdown, they've played much better defensively.
They have, and sometimes it takes a few plays, a few series for that confidence and the belief in what you've watched all week in film to take place. And so you're right. Now Lake Orion's just got to find their rhythm on offense on a much more consistent basis, not turn the ball over, and like you said, they get the ball to start the second half.
So 2nd down and 2 from the 49. Lake Orion called that timeout. They are out of timeouts. Stoney Creek still has 2. Back pass complete. Hook and ladder of their own. That's a free ball. Dragons have it. Well, they tried their own version of the hook and ladder. And he just flipped it. Looked like it went to number being flipped back to Brett Oakley and just flipped over his head.
Lake Orion's got time for a shot at least to get into. I know it's tough kicking against that wind, but with no timeouts, they've got a shot with decent field position.
Prescorn from the shotgun. Play fake, pass over the middle, incomplete, intended for number 12, Brody Kutzer, and he got nailed with a helmet, and I think they're going to call him they're going to call number 25, Kyle McBride for leading with his helmet.
That's one of those
personal foul, leading with a helmet. Defense.
That's one of those new rules this year they've installed and implemented that really is trying to take that side of the game. It's so important for the future of this game, really trying to prevent those types of things from happening. So it's a good rule, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And if anyone should know, my partner should know with Heads Up Football. And the clock started. They're
going to put 22 seconds back on the clock. Boy, the crowd was on the
oh yeah.
Whoever runs those scoreboards there, huh? Better watch out.
We'll go next door at halftime and find out what they were eating over there. Prescorn out of the gun, 21 seconds left, pressure, and he tried to set up a screen and there was just no one there. Now we got a late flag coming in. Jalen Wiggins was in the area. I don't think they're going to call intentional grounding. Sideline warning to Stoney Creek. No penalty, just telling them, get back. It's for player safety as well as the safety of the officials. That white border on the sideline is the room that the officials need. And usually they're there with their back turned to something.
Yeah, some staffs around the state have what they call get-back coaches.
Coach Luby at Lake Orion, he's a good get-back coach. Prescorn rolling, got pressure, throws, complete. Lake Orion cannot stop the clock. Complete to Mike Jarvis.
The scoreboard has not, the timeouts for Lake Orion have not been working.
I guess Lake Orion did have one left. They're showing 3 on the, or no, they show 0.
It's actually been that way the entire half.
Yeah, Jalen Wiggins, that was caught by Mike Jarvis falling down. A good job by Prescorn to get that ball away. He used every bit of his 6'5" to get the ball away. So 15 seconds left. 3rd down and 7 from the 32. Prescorn in the shotgun. Rolling left.
Comeback.
Throws. Caught. That Jalen?
Yeah, it is Jalen Wiggins,
Jalen Wiggins covered by number 25, Kyle McBride. Go ahead.
The sprint out to Jalen Wiggins on the comeback route. It just, again, a defensive back sitting on top of a guy like Jalen Wiggins doesn't want to get beat deep, and Prescorn did a nice job rolling to his left and throwing that comeback route. It's the 2nd comeback route they've completed in this game. Gets the Dragons out of bounds for a 1st down.
8.5 seconds. They've got time for 2 plays. Prescorn back to throw. Looks, throws, end zone. Too high for number 12, Brody Kutzer. 5 seconds left.
Too high. And if that ball's caught, I think he's in the end zone. He's going to struggle to get in there because there was a safety sitting high, but it's a one-on-one battle that has to be won.
They're going to try a field goal now. Kurt Bevilacqua out to try a 40-yard attempt into the wind. Mike Jarvis will hold. Snap is down, kick is up, and it's going to be way short.
They can return it.
And it's returned 7 yards deep in the end zone. And the half is ended. We're at halftime. Stoney Creek 14, Lake Orion 7. You're watching exclusive. Chris, what do you make of that one, first off? The ball was kicked 7 yards or 5 yards deep in the end zone. He can bring it out.
That's what I thought. I think that's what Coach Zuby's talking to the official about right now. Interesting.
Anyhow, we're at halftime. You're watching exclusive coverage of Lake Orion Dragon football here on Orion Neighborhood Television.
This year's 2015 Lake Orion Boo Bash will be held on Friday, October 16th at the Orion Center from 6 to 8 p.m. There will be many fun activities for the evening, including hay rides, face painting, pumpkin decorating, and more. Don't forget to wear your costumes, bring your camera, and a trick-or-treat bag for all of your goodies. You must pre-register for the event by calling 248-391-0304, extension 305. It's $11 per child for ages 10 and under. If you have any questions, contact the Orion Center.
Halftime is underwritten by Malash's Palace Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 3800 South Lapeer Road in Lake Orion. Malash's Palace has been servicing Lake Orion automotive needs since the 1960s. Our third quarter of action is brought to you by Classic Lanes, your home for family fun and entertainment in Rochester Hills. Their 32-lane facility offers state-of-the-art bowling equipment for both league and recreational bowlers. Check them out at myclassiclanes.com.
We're at halftime. The Lake Orion Dragons trail the Stoney Creek Cougars 14-7. Kind of a tale of two quarters with this one. Stoney Creek came out to the early lead. Lake Orion fought back, and a couple of late turnovers and things just kind of doomed them in the second quarter. Chris, you've got the stats.
Yeah, I mean, you had mentioned the first quarter of Stoney Creek, two touchdowns by Tristan Linen, put the Cougars up 14-0 at the end of the first half. 9:30 left to go in the second quarter. Caden Priestcorn completed a ball to Michael Jarvis on a post route for 36 yards to put the Dragons within 7 at 14-7. In terms of stats, Lake Orion actually controls in terms of total yards, 215 to Stoney Creek's 190. Caleb Priestcorn, 6 of 19 for 69 yards, if you will, please. And Frank Potenza is 8 of 13 for 143 yards. On the ground for Lake Orion, Keith Fields, 13 carries, 153 yards.
He just keeps on rolling.
Yeah, 11.8 yards per carry. So again, that's your go-to guy, and it will continue to be your go-to guy until they can stop. Both teams have 2 turnovers, 1 interception each. Lake Orion's got 7 penalties to Stoney Creek's 3. So
that has to drive Coach Bell absolutely nuts.
yeah, that's been a nemesis all season long. So for the Dragons. So bottom line, the most important stat is, as we always talk about, is that scoreboard. And Lake Orion gets the ball to start the second half.
Lake Orion will get the ball to start the second half. Chris, you and I were talking off camera. We talked earlier about the state of the OAA Red. You said in pregame that it's really a down year for the division. And we talked about 2 schools in particular in the OAA, Troy and in the White Division, Pontiac. Neither team has won a game. Pontiac is like 0 for 2 years. When do you draw the line and say, you know what, we just can't put a competitive product anymore? Would it benefit Troy more? And you hate to say it because they're such a large school. Would it benefit Troy to make a move to the white?
Yeah, they've struggled the last couple of years. They're losing 42-0 at halftime right now to Oxford, and the Lake Orion beat them 37-3, and they didn't score any points last week against Stoney Creek and didn't get a first down, and they're just struggling as a whole. And you know, I haven't seen Pontiac play this year, but I know you'd mentioned that they hadn't scored all season long. You know, it's a situation where they got to consider. They do those realignments in the OAA each and every year, and it's certainly something to consider. I don't know that it ever will for Troy, just because of the, like you said, the sheer numbers of students at Troy High School. But I've got to find a way to bring some more parity, if you will, to the OAA Red. And that's off-season development. That's building programs at the youth level. A combination of a lot of those things.
John Carson kicking off for Stoney Creek, and it's taken in the end zone by Mike Jarvis for the touchback. Lake Orion will start 1st and 10 from their own 20.
I misspoke earlier. I said Caleb Prescorn and not Caden, so my apologies.
Hey, this is our first game together this year. We're still going through spring training here, or fall training.
It's almost winter training based on the way I'm feeling tonight.
And it's supposed to be 70 degrees for next week.
Well, that'll be good for homecoming, huh?
Sure. Prescorn brings them out. Double wide look, single back in the backfield is Keith Fields. Prescorn under center, motion to the left. Fields dives forward, gets maybe a yard. Just underway here in the 3rd quarter. Chris Frisching, Doug Corliss bringing you the action here. Lake Orion and Stoney Creek. 2nd and 9. I'm sorry, Chris, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say Fields was tripped up by Trudeau on that play.
Inside handoff, Fields breaks free through the line up to about the 26. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Dragons.
The fun thing about watching Keith Fields run is that he's got good vision. He's able to see those cutback lanes. He's running front side. He's running to the right side offensively. He's able to see those cutbacks, and oftentimes, you know, the cutbacks that you see, the biggest rush plays ended up happening when you cut back behind those linebackers who have over pursued. And Keith does a nice job of having that vision and be able to cut on a dime and be able to get that yardage up the middle.
3rd down, double wide to the left, single wide out to the right. Prescorn back, looks, throws right, and caught and dropped immediately was Mike Jarvis. Tackled by number 20, Clayton Keffler.
Simple inside slot. Out cut. And the cornerback does a nice job of sitting down on the out cut and making a nice stop, forcing the Dragons to punt.
McCarty's going to punt it away. Number 21, Brett Pokley, back deep. McCarty's kicking into the wind. Low snap. And off the side of his foot. That was terrible. They're going to call him out at midfield. And that's quite a liberal spot. Wow. That ball looked like it went out about the 40. But they call it out on midfield. Stoney Creek will take over 1st and 10.
We talked at the top of the game about getting off to a good, fast start. Lake Orion did not do that in the first quarter. Last week against West Bloomfield, West Bloomfield got off to the fast start, not only in the first quarter, but in the third quarter to start the second half. So watch for that momentum surge, whatever you want to call it. The Dragons got to find a way to get it.
Frank Potenza remains at quarterback for Stoney Creek. Handoff, number 35, and he's got running room. He's got a first down over the 40. That's Dom Peroni. And we have a penalty flag down, holding against Stoney Creek, so this one's coming back. Peroni had a lot of running room, and I guess if you hold, you usually do get a lot of running room. So that'll back it up.
A little spot foul.
Spot foul. Mm-hmm. So that'll back them up to the 36-yard line. So it's first down and 24 yards to go.
Stoney Creek's 4th penalty of the game. That was a big one. Same play call.
Handoff to Peroni around the left side. He gets about 6. Brought down at the 42.
Just a little buck sweep. Both guards are pulling around and trying to lead the way, and Peroni gets brought down after about a 6-yard gain.
So 2nd and 18. Double wide, double slot look. Little swing pass. And he goes nowhere. Tristan Lanyon on the reception. And it's still going to bring up a 3rd down and 15 for Stoney Creek.
One of the things they've liked to do, I've seen it a couple times, is they like to run some sort of rocket flow one way or a deep toss to one side and let the quarterback sneak out of the backfield. It's a quarterback throwback. So now they're coming out of an empty set here.
Double wide, double slot look. Gonna pass, got pressured, and he's going down. Who got him? Number 30, Nick Rose got in on the stop.
There was penetration up front, good pass rush by the Dragons, but I want to give that credit to the secondary and the backers, because there was nobody open for Potenza to be able to throw to. That's as a result, Dragons continue their pursuit and was able to get a sack.
Keith Fields back deep for the Dragons. Another bad punt. Got a roll out of it out to the 32-yard line.
Well, ever since mid part of the second quarter, this is just a slugfest back and forth.
It is.
I mean, no one wants to seem to take advantage of the opportunities that have been given them, whether it's been over a turnover or after a turnover or the field position. No one wants to take advantage of it. Right?
The punt was made by number 25, Kyle McBride, and he had a chance to really make a statement with that. He had the wind at his back, and he just shanked it. So the Dragons take over 1st and 10. Twins to the right, Keith Fields alone back in the backfield. Now motion left. Fields on the handoff. Breaks a tackle. He's got running room. Dives forward, picks up a first down out to the 45-yard line. So first and 10 from the 45. Number 13, Noah Harris checks in at one wideout spot. Mike Jarvis split out here to the left. Prescorn under center. Handoff, Keith Fields cuts back.
Yeah.
Chris, you're right. He cuts back quickly. He gets about 7 on the carry.
And give credit to the guys up front, you know. Novak and Cathers and Benson and McCarthy and Thompson, all those guys up front are doing a nice job of providing those cutback lanes and oftentimes getting to the second level, those linebackers sitting 3 and 4 yards deep to allow Fields to make those cutbacks.
So it's 2nd and 3, ball's on the 48-yard line, center of the field. Dragons, 2 wideouts. Mike Jarvis in motion right. Keith Fields up the middle, first down, following his blockers, and has a first down out to the 42-yard line of Stoney Creek. So now the Dragons have a drive going.
Keith Fields, 150.
They're having a problem with the clock operator. There we go. Now we got it moving. Prescorn in the shotgun. Keith Fields, he moves him over from left to right. Now back to the left. Motion left, and we have a procedure call against the Dragons. There was a lot of shifting going on, and I think the Dragons had 2 people in motion at the same time. Keith Fields hadn't gotten set, and the back went in motion right. So that'll back them up 5, make it 1st and 15. Noah Harris splits wide to the left, or wide to the right. Double twins to the left. Prescorn, handoff Fields up the middle, up to about the 45-yard line. They're going to mark it on the 46. That'll bring up 2nd and 14 for the Dragons. Just over 5 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Dragons trail 14-7. Keith Fields again on the handoff. He breaks a tackle and up close to a first. He's going to be about 3 yards short. Brings it up to the Stoney Creek 35-yard line. And it'll be a very manageable 3rd and 3 for the Dragons.
The Keith Fields show here on this drive. 10 yards, 8 yards, 6 yards, 1 yard, and 11 yards.
And he gets the call again, and he's got the first down, it appears. It all depends where they spot it.
Coach Bell is yelling full house backfield. I can hear him from way up here.
Yep.
Unless that's the sideline mics that we're hearing.
Drew Casey, Bay Smart, number 24, Danny White, all check in. We've seen this for a long time from the Dragons. They get the full house backfield. Quick count. Prescorn under center. Danny White gets the call. He gets a first down. You got 3 backs. You never know which one's getting the ball or which hole he's going through. And done on a quick count, the defense really doesn't have time to adjust.
Yeah, that's what Danny White's put in the game for, are those types of plays. You know, he's got 17 carries in the year. He's under 1 yard a carry, but yet he's got 3 touchdowns in the year, and he's picked up a number of big first downs for the Dragons this year.
1st and 10 for the Dragons from the 31. Handoff, On the sweep, Danny White, and he's tripped up. They're going to probably give him a 2-yard loss. And one of the Stoney Creek players, number 51, Cole Nelson, who we've called his name a lot, he lost his helmet. So he's got to take a play off, and we've got to drag him down. So while the medical crew pays attention, we will remind you again of the ONTV Wildwood Film Festival. Have you ever wanted to create your own short film and test your filmmaking abilities? ONTV's second annual Wildwood Film Festival and Challenge is coming up. Teams will have 4 days to produce a short film that will be shown at our film festival on Wednesday, October 21st in Oxford. The kickoff party is Friday, October 16th at 6 p.m. For more information, go to ontv.org, orionontv.org.
Justin Cathers came off the field. He was the one down on the play.
Second down and 12. Inside handoff, Keith Fields makes a cut, and he's going to be close to a first down. They're going to mark him 2 yards short on the 23-yard line. 3 minutes left here in the third quarter. Dragons on the move.
Lake Orion last couple of years, long time has had these power backs, and we see a back in Keith Fields is just fun to watch. He's quick, he's elusive, he runs with that body lean, and he's having a great game tonight.
And he's just a junior. We get to watch him next year. Keith Fields again, he picks up the first down inside the 20 to the 19. They'll move the chains for the Dragons. And you're right, ride the hot horse. And at this point, Caden Prieskorn doesn't have to go out and win a game for him. And that's a great thing for a sophomore quarterback. He can learn his position, learn game management, and later on, junior, senior year, then he can be the guy you count on to win a game.
That carry there for Fields just put him over 200 yards on the ground tonight.
Well, he's going to get a couple more. Gain of 2. They're calling a line of scrimmage on the 19, but it's closer to the 20. And now they're marking him on the 18. Second and 9. Stoney Creek's only had the ball one possession this quarter. Keith Fields again. Down, close to a first down. They're going to mark him at the 11.
Inside handoff to Fields, and follows his left tackle Nick Novak around, gets down near the first down marker.
So Dragons facing a 3rd and 2 from the 11.
Personnel situation. Casey going to tight end, the left tight end here.
Keith Fields again. Has the first down the way the head linesman's running in. We'll get the call from the referee. And it is a first down and goal for the Dragons.
Fields coming out of the game right now. Chris Wilson coming into the game. If my numbers are correct, he's at Fields, that is at 215 yards rushing tonight.
He probably needs a rest. Prieskorn under center. And he took the snap and nobody else moved. So that'll back him up 5, takes him from a first and goal to a first and goal from the 14-yard line.
That 5-yard penalty allows Fields to get back in the game. You're right. He had 13 carries in the first half. He's already got 11 carries here in this quarter alone.
Get a drink of water, take a deep breath, and get back out there. And he's one of those players, we've seen him a lot, you just can't get them off the field. Toss to field, sweeping left. Inside the 10, down maybe to the 9, they'll call him. And we have a timeout for an injury. I think it's Keith is down. And this would not. I lost my read sheets. Go ahead, take one.
Video classes are now enrolling. Reserve your seat today. Learn the basics of studio and field production with ONTV staff of video professionals. We offer hands-on instruction in a fun atmosphere. Orion residents pay only $10. Call ONTV to find out more at 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060. You can also visit our webpage at orionontv.org.
Now I get myself somewhat composed again. Yeah, they're taking a lot of time with Keith Fields down there, and this would be a blow to the Dragons if they lose him the rest of the night. It looked like as he went through the line, I don't know if his ankle, he got tripped up on an ankle. Tell you what, while
Hello, Lake Orion. It's Anthony Taormina, co-host of Between Taorminas. I want to let you know of a new show called History Now. In it, we're going to talk about global, national, and political events that occur in our lifetime. We're going to also have guests and also have co-hosts as well, and also plenty of surprises. Catch us on History Now here on ONTV.
with that, end of the third quarter with the score, Stoney Creek 14, Lake Orion 7. We'll stay with you through the break and read another plug. We also will remind you, if I find my other read sheets, replays are sponsored by Jets Pizza. Jets Pizza with 2 convenient locations in the Orion area. Proud supporters of ONTV since 2009. And be sure to turn into replays of your favorite games right here on ONTV. Tune in Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the most current games in our lineup. Games are also replayed throughout the week, so check our program guide on our webpage at orionontv.org for replay times that best fit your viewing schedule. Also, visit our YouTube link for games on demand. And one play later, number 12, Brody Kutzer. Oh, thank you, Chris. Number 42, Chris Wilson, carries it in for the touchdown. And we are an extra point away from a tie game. And it's the same thing, right up the middle, and he didn't miss. First play of the fourth quarter, the Dragons are in the end zone as soon as our graphics get changed. There we go. Kurt Bevilacqua, or Luke Bevilacqua. Thank you. On for the extra point. Ball down. Kick is up. Kick is good. We're tied at 14. Very good drive for the Dragons. They took the ball over on there. They went 66 yards in 8 plays to tie the game at 14. So now the defense needs to make a stand, Chris.
Defense needs to make a stand, and I don't want to say just like that, but it was 14-0 Stoney Creek at one time, and Lake Orion has hung around, and back into this game, and we're tied, and we've got a ball game. Like I said earlier, in the third, it's been a slugfest back and forth. No one wanted to take advantage of it, and with Fields out right now, and he's carried the ball for 24, 25 times for over 200 yards on the ground. Lake Orion's has got to have to do a nice job defensively, but then find that horse again when they get the ball back offensively. So it's going to be an exciting fourth quarter nonetheless.
And the Dragons have the wind at their back here in the fourth quarter. Bevilacqua has it teed up on the 40, far hash. And the ball blew off the tee, so they'll spot it.
I don't know if I've ever seen that twice in the same game happen. Just shows you how strong the wind is down there.
It is a wind. The flag has been whipping all night. It's kind of out of the northeast. So number 47, Tom Finneran, will spot the ball, and we'll do it again. High end over end kick. Into and out of the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. Stoney Creek takes over, 1st and 10. I have it 66 yards in 7 plays. Is that what you had?
And Keith Fields had most of those yards.
Yeah. Well, they've got him up on his feet. He's walking.
He's drinking. I'm guessing it's a cramp.
I think so too. And if you get a good leg cramp, you feel like your leg's falling off. You can't straighten it out, and when you do straighten it out, something else cramps up. Stoney Creek, 1st and 10. Turn around, give back to, couldn't see who that was.
Peroni.
That was Don Peroni on the carry. Got about 6 on the play. So it'll be 2nd and 4 from the 26. Ball's in the center of the field. Stoney Creek moving right to left across your television screen.
It's nice. Yeah, I mean,
good fake on the handoff. I was watching Peroni come around left end. The ball was handed up the middle.
You alluded to it earlier, but the ability to, Lake Orion got down early 14-0. Ever since that first, halfway into the first quarter, Lake Orion defense has played tough.
So it's 3rd down and 5 from the 25. Coming around the left side, number 35, Don Peroni. We've called his name a lot here in the second half. He runs for a 1st down for Stoney Creek out to the 36-yard line.
They've had some luck on the perimeter running that sweep, that buck sweep play.
1st and 10 for Stoney Creek. Ball placed on the left hash.
Watch out the one-on-one matchup down here. Kyle McBride, number 25.
Alec Meal. And Stoney Creek's going to call timeout. I don't know if there was indecision or what there was.
Right now, you 14-14 with 10:34 to go in the fourth quarter. It's slugfest, chess match, whatever you want to call it. You can't afford a miscue here or there. So making sure you've got the right personnel, you got the right play call. All those things combined go into making these decisions and executing here in this fourth quarter.
You know, we talked about this early with the Troy Athens game when it was so warm that the players, you know, talking with Keith Fields cramping up, players can't just start taking in fluids the day of the game. They got to start 3 days previous. If they just start the day, what's going to happen is what happened to Keith Fields. You're going to cramp up, and it's all fluid intake. So it's 1st and 10, 1 wide out to the left, 1 back in the backfield. And that's Peroni. Nope, that's Tristan Lenyon on the call. And he gets about 9, brings up a 2nd and 1 from the 45. It was nothing fancy. He just ran right in the guard or the center guard hole. Handoff on the outside, number 21, Brett Pokley. He picks up the 1st down right about the 47-yard line.
You know what's interesting is that the Cougars, they scored those first 2 touchdowns in that first quarter, and those touchdowns were done. They were ultimately scored on the ground, but there were 2 big plays in the air that set them up. There hasn't been a lot of Stoney Creek going into the air since that middle of that first quarter on, which is kind of interesting because that's what they were having success moving the football.
They have not thrown the ball much here in the second half. Outside.
Nice tackle.
Good tackle. Did the ball come out? They're calling them down.
Potenza was 8 of 13.
Was that Alec Mell on the tackle? Trying to see who came around, but they stood him up right there.
Nice open field tackle. Picture perfect.
Jake Negri.
Keeping the feet buzzing on contact. Penalty in the backfield. It's got to be a hold on Stoney Creek, and it is.
And that's huge. From our field, Mike, you can hear the wind blowing. It has not let up. I got to the stadium around 5 o'clock, and it has not stopped since. So 1st and 20 for Stoney Creek. Pass pressure, caught and dropped.
Oh, and they threw the flag.
I don't know if they're going to call him for leading with his helmet or blow to the head.
The ball was thrown low.
He's got to go down to get it.
To Brady Campbell. I think that's going to be one of those targeting.
Well, and that's kind of situation. What's the defensive player supposed to do? The player's gone down. You're going in to secure the tackle.
I don't know in that particular case, but whenever an official sees any head-to-head helmet contact, they're going to err on the side of caution there.
And you notice on the drive, we've been watching the pink numbered jerseys all night long. On the back of the jersey is not necessarily the player's number. Oh, personal foul, blow to the head. But on the back of the jerseys is not necessarily the player's name, but it's a relative, a friend, a neighbor who has had or undergone treatment for cancer, and that's their way of honoring them. So it's a 1st down and about 7.
Ooh.
Number 77, Brendan Thompson, got in on that one. And Peroni got bent over backwards. But he still gains 4 for a 2nd and 3. Up the middle, stopped. Brendan Thompson again with a little help from his friends, including Bay Smart. So now we've got a 3rd and 3. They stopped him for no gain.
You try to stop a 6'4", 270-pound defensive lineman in Brendan Thompson. It's awful difficult to do.
And we have a Stoney Creek player down. Is that Peroni that's down? He's pointing down to his leg. He may be cramping up as well. Player down is Zach Turner, number 54 for Stoney Creek. 64, he said. Okay, that's Cole LaFave. And so while they tend to him, either one.
Be sure to tune into replays of your favorite games right here on ONTV. Tune in Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 7, Saturdays at 1 for the most current games in our lineup. Games are also replayed throughout the week, so check out our program guide on our webpage at orionontv.org for replay times that best fit your viewing schedule. Also visit our YouTube link for games on demand. orionontv.org.
So we have a 3rd and 3 for Stoney Creek. They're going to come out with twins to the left. Single back in the backfield is Peroni.
They drew him off sides again.
The Dragons jumped. Number 11, Jack McClear, jumped, and it gives Stoney Creek a 1st down from the Lake Orion 41-yard line.
That's twice tonight that Cougars have drawn Dragons off sides for 1st downs.
That was huge. So 1st and 10 for Stoney Creek. Ends and backs turn to look at the sideline. Ball's on the ground. Dragons say they have it.
Potenza put it on Peroni's hip as a fake.
Let's see.
It looked like they were going to toss the ball to. Gave it back to Stoney Creek.
They're saying Peroni got it.
Looks like they're going to toss the ball to Pokley on the rocket, or and the ball hit Peroni's.
Hit him right in the hip. He never got it, and to his credit, he did a great job getting the ball back from about 3 green shirts. So 2nd and 11 from the 42. 7 minutes left in the game.
Watch that play flow a little bit later on. That's when they like to throw the quarterback throwback. And nice flow.
Oh, good tackle.
Nice Dragon flow. Green shirts everywhere. Look at that.
Brendan Thompson again with the big hit. And that takes a lot for a big man to move from his defensive tackle position. Here he comes over and he just levels him. So 3rd down and 11. To quote Coach Bell, this play is going to be huge. Third down and 11, ball spotted on the 42-yard line.
Watch,
Back
there's the
defense.
post.
Post, and he got it. And they have a flag thrown too.
It's going to be pass interference on the defense. But all they did was put trips to the far side of the field.
Looked like Max Hornifer, number 16, was on top of the receiver like a cheap suit, and they're waving the flag off. So it will be a first down. He was with the receiver every step of the way. It's a well-placed ball.
Potenza threw a nice ball. McBride, nice route for a big completion for the Cougars.
So 1st and 10 from the 23, they're calling it. Number 36, Tristan Linian, up the middle, and he's got about 8 yards. Now they're calling him with a 6-yard gain, 7-yard gain. Bring up 2nd and 3. Stoney Creek inside the red zone.
They like to do a reverse or some sort of trick play. They usually have one
Straight
or
up
two
the
times a
middle.
game.
Straight up the middle, he's got a first down on a 10.
They usually like to do those reverse or trick plays inside the 20, so be aware in this situation.
5 minutes left in the game. Stoney Creek has a 1st and goal from the 10. Motion to the outside. Stood up at the 5, number 21, Brett Pokley. Got outside, got stood up at the 5 after a 5-yard gain. They're giving him a 4-yard gain. It's 2nd and goal from the 6. He got stood up by Drew Casey, who held on and actually brought him back a yard.
We got one-on-one match. There's
straight up the middle. Line in again. To the 2.
Lynan scored both touchdowns. They like to go from 3 and 1 yards out. They like to go to Lynan, obviously, in this situation.
Number 6, Kyle Benartowski, checks in at an end position.
They like to run a pull play to the right, oftentimes.
Right up the middle again.
There it is.
And he's in for the touchdown. We weren't sure because they were moving him laterally along the line, and the head linesman is the one that signaled touchdown. Nothing easy about that. It's just pure power football.
Yeah, but you know what? That drive was set up by 2 third down miscues by the Dragons. The first one was the drawn off sides to set up the first down, and the second was the big 3rd down pass over the middle.
And John Carson puts the ball up. 3:25 left in the game. 21-14, Stoney Creek.
And if you're a defense, you've got to get off the field on 3rd down.
Video classes are now enrolling. Reserve your seat today. Learn the basics of studio and field production with ONTV staff of video professionals. We offer hands-on instruction in a fun atmosphere. Orion residents pay only $10. Is this the one you just did? Is this the read you just did? I remember the $10.
Yes, a couple reads ago.
Call ONTV to find out more at 248-693-3377 or 248-393-1060, or visit our webpage at OntV.org.
I think we're just looking for other camera people because our current staff, our crew is so cold out there. They're gonna.
I saw Tessa Bratton. She's running the main cameras upstairs. She looks like she's ready to go ice skating.
I tell you what, this is gut check time for the Dragons because Keith Fields went out late in that third quarter and he won't be returning for this drive. So the ability to get the ball and find somebody that can lead the Dragons down to tie this ball game up is important.
Pooch kick went out of bounds, and that's a good break for the Dragons because the ball will be spotted on the 35-yard line. And the Dragons will take over 1st and 10.
Well, Lake Orion's been, their losses this year, other than last week against West Bloomfield, their losses have been tight. They've been in these games before. They've been in these situations before the first 2 games of the season. Let's see what the Dragons are made of.
Priestcorn in the shotgun. Twins to the left. Handoff up the middle. And Brody Kutzer's going nowhere. Oh, that was not. That was Chris Wilson. The 42 looked like a 12.
Speak of, guess who's back in the game?
Keith Fields is back in.
I assumed he was done for the night.
The way they worked on him and the amount of time he was down, I agree. Toss to Fields. Get outside, trying to turn the corner, and just can't do it. Brought down by Tristan Linen for.
There's a flag on the play on the far side of the field.
Holding, offense declined. They want to turn the down box, make it 3rd down and about 14. Wise call at that time, keep the down box moving. Priestcorn in the shotgun. Look, screen pass, incomplete. And we heard the Stoney Creek coaches next to us going nuts, and they had a very legitimate beef because after the penalty, the clock should have started, and it did not. So now it's 4th down and 14 from the 31. Lake Orion's going to call timeout and talk it over.
So what do you do, Coach?
Well, Coach Bell's always come up with a 4th and long play somewhere. I don't know if he's got the horses for it this year.
4 of 12 this year, 33% coming in on 4th down conversion, 4th down conversions. That being said, most of the 4th down conversions are 4th and short and not 4th and 14.
It's certainly not an indictment of the sophomore quarterback, but I was watching him in pregame, and when he had to do a quick look and throw, and I think we touched on it earlier, he was very accurate. If he's got to stop and think and look and has time to throw, he's not near as accurate as he is when he's pressured to make a throw.
Personnel's.
They've only got 10 players on the
do.
field. Here comes Base Smart in late.
Tight end. He's covered. Yep. Back to back.
Yep.
Timeouts
Back
for the
to back
Dragons.
timeouts. That's huge.
It's obviously something you don't want to have happen, especially you call the timeout, you're trying to set up the play and not have the entire personnel grouping in there. makes things difficult. And Coach Zuby is on the field almost at the far hash mark, just livid at one of the officials.
Well, and it's one of the things, and you've always had a coach on the sideline that when a personnel group is called, they call out, and these players have to know when a rock personnel group is called, hey, I'm in the game. So it's 4th and 14 from the 31, 2:30 left in the game. Prescorn back to throw, looks, throws down the field, and it's broken up. Intended for Keith Fields, broken up by number 25, Kyle McBride. So not only did the 4th down not work, but now Stoney Creek takes over, 1st and 10 from the Lake Orion 31-yard line.
Well, here's the other thing on that. Now you're down to 1 timeout. You're down to 1 timeout. You could have had 2 timeouts had your personnel grouping been correct, and that makes it even that much more difficult. Now you've got to be a situation where you've got to going in there and trying to rake that ball out of there, rip it out of their hands, and try to force a fumble. Somehow get the ball back.
Be prepared for a steady dose of ground game coming up right now, as it's been the whole second half for Stoney Creek.
Yes, it is. That's where you got to rake and rip.
Turn back.
They tried to.
Handoff. Stop. Base Smart in there. Number 9, Alec Mell in there. And Lake Orion calls their last time out.
Final timeout. That really hurts it with 2:16 to go in the 4th.
It does. And I'm sure that'll be addressed this week. Personnel groupings.
And the coordination of that all from a personnel grouping to offense, defense. There's been some. Keith Fields was down, and there's been some defensive linemen that are out, and some our offensive linemen are going in and playing. There's been a lot of changes personnel-wise for tonight's game, and to coordinate that and be on the same page. And there's a lot of communication that needs to take place, and the kids got to know where to be, when to be, and the coach's staff has to obviously put them in the right situation to be successful, and it falls on everybody's shoulders to make sure that those things happen.
So it's 2nd down and 10, 2:16 left in the game, ball on the 31. Potenza takes the snap. Reverse handoff. Maybe a yard to Leinen. So we have a 3rd down and 9 from the 30-yard line. The Dragons cannot stop the clock. Under 2 minutes left to go.
Unfortunately, there's no 2-minute warning in high school football.
Well, I mean, Stoney Creek came right to the line. I'd sit back and burn some clock a little bit, but they came right up to the line. Now he's letting some clock go. He's watching the back judge. Once he starts, and he's doing it now, there's reverse handoff, and he's going to be stacked for no gain. So it'll be 4th and about, calling it 4th and 10. The back judge has a device on his hip that's kind of like a pager. And when that beeps, they've usually got 5 seconds left, and he will put his arm up, and then for the last 5 seconds, move his arm like he's doing an illegal motion call. And the quarterback watches that, and that's the last 5 seconds. He's got to get the play off. We're under a minute now, and they're going to call timeout. 45.8 seconds. So the Dragons came back tonight, made a game of it, and like you said, Chris, there's just some organizational things that usually don't happen that we saw happen tonight.
if I were to look back, and certainly it's not over yet. You know, it remains to be seen what's going to happen here in the last 46 seconds. But you know, you look back to some of the keys of the game, and the first thing we talked about is getting off to a fast start. Stoney Creek got off to the fast start. So check mark Stoney Creek. You know, Keith Fields let's get on Keith Fields' back and let's see what we can get. And guess what? They rode Keith Fields back for quite some time until he he broke down there briefly in that late third quarter. So, you know, so check mark Dragons, but when it's all said and done, Stoney Creek has made a few more plays than the Dragons,
yes.
And that's really what the game of football comes down to. You make a couple more plays than your opponent, and and then good things will happen for you.
So 45.8 seconds, 4th and 10 for Stoney Creek from the Lake Orion 31. Rolling right, throws, incomplete. The Dragons will take over. Attempted for number 25, Kyle McBride, and he had the ball in his hands and just dropped it. So Lake Orion still has a chance. 41.2 seconds left.
If there was ever a 41-second drill instead of a 2-minute drill, here's the time to do it, huh?
Well, and here's the point where, you know, you've got a big, strong-arm quarterback who's got the wind at his back, and this is the kind of experience that he will grow out of, I guarantee you. He's got time, throws down the field.
Oh, nice
Incomplete.
effort. Nice ball, nice effort.
Good ball. Keith Fields went up as high as he could. As you always said, you catch it at the highest point. He went up and got it, and right off his hands.
Nice protection.
Great protection this time.
Pokley, hard to tell, but I don't know if Pokley got a hand in there ultimately at the end or not.
Got pressure, gets out of it, throws. Incomplete. You know, Jalen Wiggins has been very silent this second half. We have not seen his number called very much. Is he even on the field?
He's down here
Yeah.
at the 45-yard line.
And that's a blow to the Dragons
Absolutely
if they
it
lose
is.
him.
Absolutely.
So third down, 30.4 seconds. Twins to the left. Prescorn got pressure, going down. So we're under 20 seconds. The last 15 seconds is running. Dragons trying to get personnel in to run a play. Trips to the right. Prescorn rolling, throwing, and incomplete. The game is not, are they calling the game over, or are they going to put a second back on? When the ball hit the ground, there was under 1 second.
There was a penalty thrown at the 20-yard line, or a flag thrown.
Let's see what we're doing.
Hold on, the official's going to the...
Nope, they're leaving the field. So with that, in a very crazy game, your final score, Stoney Creek Cougars 21, the Lake Orion Dragons 14. We'll be right back. down on the field after a 21-14 defeat for the Dragons at the hand of the Stoney Creek Cougars. Chris, we talked a lot about missed opportunities, missed assignments. This is all stuff that's correctable. That being said, this is week 5, week 6. It should have been corrected.
Right, and that's what you experience every single game. You got to, and once all said and done, you got to make more plays than the other team, and that's not what happened tonight for the Dragons, unfortunately. We talked about Keith Fields and the great night he had all night tonight, and Wiggins was down at one point in time. I don't know, but when your top 2 offensive threats go down for a time in the game, that hurts your opportunities to move the football, and that's what you ended up finding out. And certainly the last drive, the Dragons couldn't do anything. So, remains to be seen what's going to happen moving forward. But the ability to establish some consistency on both sides of the football is what Lake Orion's got to get to, and it's finding that right matchup. It's trying to finding the right personnel groupings. All those things combined that go into playing this great game, and it just wasn't the Dragons' night tonight.
And it's one of the things, we've been doing this for 6 years now. Coach Bell's been here for 18 years. We're so, if you want to use the word, spoiled on Dragons' success. So when you have years that are rebuilding years, you have a quarterback that's a game manager, which was kind of the situation last year. This year you have a sophomore quarterback that's really learning the position. It's kind of hard for the fan base to take because they're not used to that.
Not used to it. You're right. Going to the state finals in 08 and winning it all in 10 and getting to the regional finals the next year and on and on and on. There's been a long tradition of success here, and that being said, the numbers at all levels of the Lake Orion program are good in terms of participation rates. So that's an encouraging sign. And now it's just a matter of keeping grinding, keep working, keep evaluating, keep getting into the weight room, keep doing the off-season stuff that's going to make you better, that when it's all said and done helps to build a program. It starts with the youth level and the success and the development of kids at the younger levels. And if that can be done, continue to be done like it has for so long, Lake Orion's going to be just fine.
And it's the same thing. And looking at the staff, there has been some turnover in the staff. Another thing we talked about for years is that the staff had been together so long. Now you've got new faces coming in. Coach Tooley left. Brad Fisher has been doing an admirable job with the defense. And again, he's still learning to be a defensive coordinator, and all this stuff will take time.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, we're already in week 6 now, and the Dragons are 2-4, and they've got to find a way to win out from here on out, because when it's all said and done, as you talked about at the beginning, 5-4 teams, very few do make it, but there's always that chance. There's always that opportunity, especially with the schedule they've played. We come home for homecoming next week against Bloomfield Hills, and then we go on the road to Clarkston, and then the final game is the crossover game. So it's going to be a chore moving forward, but if you know the staff, if you know the kids, if you know the tradition around Lake Orion football, you know they're going to be grinding this week and doing the best they can to get ready and prepared for Bloomfield Hills.
Coach Bell is just coming up. Coach, we appreciate you taking time out tonight. Tough loss, as they all are.
Yep.
We were talking, is it missed opportunities, missed assignments? It's all things that are correctable.
It is. We're disappointed because there's not a phase of the game where I felt like we played well. We outplayed on offense, on defense, on special teams. The first half, they were having great success in the passing game, into the wind. And I give them credit. They jumped out, 14-0, and us offensively between 2 turnovers and multiple penalties, and we could never really get anything rolling. And then second half, we tightened up defensively. We put some drives together. We get up there and we tie the game, and have momentum and have the win the fourth quarter, and they go 80 yards, and that's it. They ate up most of the fourth quarter, so I give them credit. They outplayed us. They outplayed us, and we did not play well, which is a credit to them. So. we just got to come back, keep fighting, come back next week, and see if we can win next week and win on homecoming and keep moving forward and then get ready for the stretch.
Talk about the kid you rode the back of number 3, Keith Fields. What a tremendous night he had, 200+ yards on the ground. He got injured there towards the late part of the third quarter. Talk about his night and what he did for the team.
Yeah, he's a great back, obviously, and he's got great vision, ran hard. But even there's some things out there that he's got to get better as well with some cuts. He fumbled the ball in the second, in our second series, which was a killer for us. So, he plays well, and they do a good job up front. But we just got to get better. We shame on us tonight for we didn't execute. We play hard. Our guys always play hard, but it comes down to execution, and they play better.
Week by week, we can see improvement in your quarterback. Talk about your quarterback and how he's progressed through the season.
It's hard. He got a lot of pressure. They were blitzing him a lot tonight. We didn't do a good job picking up the blitz. He's also got to be able to handle that quicker, anticipate some things. That will come with age. He's doing fine. We got to get him better as well, but he's doing fine.
Coach, thanks for the time. I know it's tough for you. See you at homecoming next week.
Thanks.
That's it from the field. Again, our final score, Stoney Creek Cougars 21, the Lake Orion Dragons 14. For my broadcast partner, Chris Frisching, our producer-director, Ian Locke, and all of our ONTV crew, thank you for watching. Good night, everyone.